Hi, John. This is Ahmed from Gaypur. Welcome to our podcast series. Uh, it's great to have you here. John, you're in mute, I think.
It's great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah. I've been through your profile. We've talked earlier as well. So you have spent a lot of time in telecom, in the telecom industry, starting from Pennsylvania and uh, going to Verizon and growing up within the organization, like multiple folds over the time. So how's your experience been working with the organization?
So it was really just kind of falling into being in a really good place and developing throughout my career at Verizon, being a leader in telecommunications, both on wireline and wireless side of the house. So yeah, it was also because it was such a big company, it also gave me lots of great opportunity to work in different departments, information technology, network engineering, marketing, operations, where it was really technology management there as well. And a tremendous number of really great people to work with.
Absolutely, it's a great organization to work for, right? What's been your experience with remote? Like you have been in the industry since 90s or earlier as well. Is it like something new which world has seen, or is it like something which was always there, but we never realized how it was working?
But with remote work, I mean, the environment at Verizon varied by department that you were in to some degree, right? Some organizations wanted everybody to absolutely be there 9 to 5 or to 9 to 9, whatever it might be. But that also varied quite a bit. A good portion of my time while I was in IT, we were managing projects that were nationwide. We had people that were in different hubs nationwide. And some of those project managers with whom I was working, you're not face to face with almost, 95% of the people that you're working with. So why do you need to be in an office to do that? So where, at that point in time during my career, there was able to provide a lot of people a lot of flexibility, and I found it to be great. I mean, it was great for me. It was great for the employees. And that was well before remote work was a thing.
Right. The current form of remote, is it similar to what it used to be before, the tools, the technologies, the infrastructure, or do
No,
you
but I
see?
mean, at that time, it was all conference bridges, right? There was no video. There really, I mean, you could create video. There was video available, but in terms of the normal tools that people were using, um, it's considerably better now. It's easier. It's more connected, and I would contend actually, you're having more face-to-face conversation, or at least on the topics that matter and on the specific work that needs to get done. Probably more now than you were then.
Hmm. Right.
Especially,
Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to say, especially for a big organization that's spread all over the country.
Absolutely. Fast forward 2015, right? So 2015 to 2019, 20 is the time frame when there was no COVID, but the technology was there, right? So, did you see significant change in productivity for someone who was working from home or someone who was showing up to office every day?
Uh, it would depend a tremendous amount on the person at that time. Some people were very effective at working remotely, and some people were not as effective. And it would depend a lot on what the home situation was like and the amount of distraction that they had where they were.
Right. And what about the boundaries? Like now we are in the post COVID era where remote is the new norm, right? What about the boundaries, the state boundaries, the country boundaries? As long as you are working in the same time zone, does it matter where the person is sitting?
It doesn't matter where the person's sitting to me. It never has. It's always been more about what work's getting done. Um, and I think also, I think one of the challenges with remote work is making people feel part of the team, right? And staying connected with people on a personal level. Because naturally we all work because we need, you know, we need funding, right? To pay for our houses and our food and everything else that we're doing. So we work for money, but at a certain point, satisfaction, work satisfaction is how much do you feel like you're part of the team? How much are you appreciated, right? If you are feeling that appreciation from the people that you work with, um, being face to face is almost irrelevant. Pardon me. So yeah.
Yeah. So
Does that answer your question?
yeah, it does. So you left Verizon, right? But if a very good lucrative job, right? And you are looking to do something of your own, right?
Yeah, middle
So
of 2020.
yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about what are you doing right now in terms of your new startup, and what does it do?
Sure. So for the first period of time after I left, I was actually just enjoying well, taking what was a hobby into somewhat of a business, which is in agriculture. And I've had some really nice success with that. And it's going remarkably well. But, I really couldn't stay away from technology either. So I'm right now involved as the chief technology officer at Gulster.
Hmm.
Gulster is a startup company that is really poised, I think, to change how companies do transformation, and to the effect of allowing them to be, enabling them to be more successful. About 70% of all transformation efforts in business fail. And fundamentally, that's because of a disconnect between leadership and the rest of the organization. Pardon me. Gulster is a company that helps you connect and have feedback up and down through the organization, and make sure that all those resources in your company are moving towards the same goals, taking the appropriate action items, giving both leadership and all the members of those teams the ability to see the progress being made, see what's working. And when you have an organization that's spread geographically, and even in departments, but you have one group that's really, really good. It's something that they found is really, really good. You can take that formula, right, those ingredients, and distribute that to the rest of the organization virtually overnight, to get, take advantage of your best practices in a way that people haven't been before.
Right. And so are you all remote in Gulster?
Every one of us, we're global, and everybody's remote.
Right.
We're in 3 of the 4 U.S. time zones. We're in India, we're in Europe, and we're in Australia.
So do you see being remote as an advantage, or you're stuck in a scenario where you don't have the option
No,
to go
I think it's definitely an advantage for us, because we're able to get just the right talent for just the work that we're doing. And we're not looking at, okay, do I have somebody in this town that can do this job? No, you can look over the whole planet. And it does, time zones get a little bit tricky. It's tough when you're working in East Coast, India and Australia, and you're all trying to be on a meeting at the same time. So
I think you picked the 3 most difficult time zones to work for your meetings.
yeah.
Right. So one part is the time zone part, right? Obviously, you would over time figure out how to deal with that. The other part is digital communication tools and technologies. So do you see, uh, do you miss that day when you all get into a room, uh, take out your markers and draw something on the board, or the tools are good enough now to just get on calls, resolve problems, and move on?
Uh, look, you hit a soft spot for me there in terms of collaboration and innovation. I do miss getting in a room with people with a whiteboard and talking through, opportunities and things that that need to be done. Um, we used to do that a tremendous lot. We're not using the whiteboard functionality electronically very much in the tools that we have today so far. Maybe that's just something we need to adjust to. But we also don't expect to never meet each other face to face, right? So maybe quarterly or periodically when we come together and do some planning, we still do get in a room and do some whiteboarding from time to time.
Right. Because these are the real problems, right? Every working model has pros and cons, right? So you can never deny that, and accepting that and adapting to those issues actually help you build up the culture, build up the company. So for me, just realizing that what are the weaker areas when you're sitting remote just helps you get on top of your stuff, get top of your stuff and get things going. Like I can just give you an example. At one of the companies at remote teams you're working at, we used to have a coffee session every week as well, where everybody will bring their own coffee to the call, and maybe a guitar or anything you like to play. And it's like no work hour, but everybody just comes and hangs out like we do in office someday.
Sure.
There are ways to have the best environment and culture which you like as a company, right? So moving onwards, so we've touched the time zone issue, we have touched uh, the realistic issue. What's the single most empowering thing, or the positive thing which you think remote brings to the table?
Focus. I think the ability to focus both from, when you have your environment set up properly in your remote location, you don't have the amount of distraction that you used to have in an office by far. Additionally, when you're actually doing work that you're going to present and review with folks, it's not to suggest that people are hiding, but it forces everybody to make sure that what they're presenting, what that work is doing, is actually moving the business forward. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is, and this is related to Olympic athlete from Australia, that a team where they talked about how could they win with their boat, and everything they did, they said, will it make the boat go faster? So every change they make, will it make the boat go faster? And we use that for ourselves at Gulster to think through, is this action that we're going to do going to push us ahead, or is it just an interesting diversion? And so, yeah, long answer to focus as being the single best thing.
No, that's one of the best answers I've heard for some time when it comes to remote, right? So, and I'm thinking through myself as well, but that yes, it's correct that sometimes when you're working remotely, you just can't waste time, right? You can't just say I'm not in mood and go around talk to people, or go to the coffee area next to your office or within your office, spend time there. You just don't have the leverage to do that anymore. And then you realize that, hey, my 8 hours were not worth it today. in contrast to when you go to office and you are not in that mood, and you'll probably work for 4 hours and not 8, and still spend 8 hours in the office feeling good about it that I spend so absolutely. It has happened with everyone, right? There was
Sure.
one day where I think every one of us has been through it. So one very important thing, when very important area of business is bringing new people to the team, right? Hiring, engaging the right talent, right? And when you're sitting remotely, you have to have an onboarding process to get those people in the company, and then make them understand the product and get to full speed, right?
Mhm.
So, do you how do you manage that side of the business when you bring in new people?
It's funny you ask. It's actually one of the things that we're doing at Gulster for ourselves, that companies can use the tool for themselves, for their new employees. So you have, because whether you're remote or not, onboarding is such an important function. And in the old world, and without I mean, even in today's world, onboarding differs by manager dramatically. And some managers are really good at it, and some are really horrible. And it's not because they're bad people. It's not, you just have to be really thoughtful about what does that new person need, and really be focused on that consistently, for 30 days, for 2 months, for 6 months, the first year. What does that look like? So at Gulster, we're doing that for ourselves in terms of building this onboarding process for, what do you need to know first? Well, you need to know about the tool. You need to know about the product that we have. How do you know about the product? And we're not a big complex organization yet, so some of that's a lot simpler than it might be for other people in terms of the HR and work, and knowing the other departments, and uh, understanding any regulation that there might be. In any event, yeah. So we're using our own tool in-house to onboard people by helping them to understand our business, and then everybody that joins will be able to have a consistent onboarding experience. We can tweak it and make it specific for individuals where necessary, but we'll know everybody that joins a company will have a consistent level of onboarding.
Right. Makes sense. So, companies like Gaper, right? We've been helping companies build remote teams. So, how do you see companies like Gaper coming into the action, helping up startups, and what's the best we can do?
Well, one of the things that's, I think, important, not just for a company to determine if the person that you're hiring is the right person for your company, but also is the company the right company for that person. And Gaper I think can help us to make that match. It doesn't matter if one party's in love with the other, right? And the other party is like, no, I'm not interested. You've got to find that good match, and Gaper can help with that, I think. And bringing new people in, even if you have a wonderful onboarding process, is expensive, right? It's expensive while you're getting somebody up to speed. So the better fit you can find right from the start, and that Gaper can help with, you can potentially save a whole lot of money and be moving forward, make that boat go faster a lot quicker than if you are just looking out in the market and trying to hire. Look, hiring managers, as an example, are even people in HR are wrong 30% of the time, right? That's a big expense to a business. So if you can work with a great partner that understands your needs and understands the skills of the people that you're hiring, you can save a bundle.
Yeah. So, if I summarize it, don't find engineers, be the Tinder, be the matchmaker.
There you go.
So we are Tinder for engineers. That's the way to go about it. Engineers and companies, and startups, right? Uh, so if I ask you before we close the session, if I ask you what's one advice you would give to someone who is looking to build remote team, what's that one advice would you like to give?
One advice. I actually think an element of patience is really important. I don't think too many people respond well to feeling like they're only valued for one thing. And understanding the value of the person and knowing the people, whether they're, that happen to be remote, and understanding who that whole person is, will help them to feel more connected to you and you more connected to them. And that better connection will help to transcend the miles and the technology and everything else to build a more cohesive team, because I am a huge believer in teams. And that's what, I mean, some of those skills are the same thing you would need whether you're in person or not, but that's what I would suggest.
Right, right. So thank you so much, John, for being with us today. It was lovely talking to you, and great notes, life lessons shared by you for people who are in the business.
Well, thanks so much. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.